Hey, probably got some good audio clips in there. We said a bunch of bad things when you were gone.
Yeah, don't. Just send it to me. I'll edit it and send it back to you.
Oh, he could be out squatching today or something,
Or playing with his dick. All right, are we ready to do this?
No.
Not really.
Fucking try it
Press
anyway.
record and start.
Quiet your asses down and we'll press play.
Okay, fuck. All right, go ahead.
What do we got to get quiet for?
Because I have to play the fucking intro.
I thought we were allowed to say fuck.
You are allowed to say fuck after the intro.
Can't we say like cuss words and stuff?
Yes. You can say everything.
Would you play the intro?
Fuck the intro.
Once the intro's done.
You got to keep that in there.
It's all being recorded.
We're all going to say fuck.
All right, ready?
I'm muting right now.
Okay.
What you are about to hear may be offensive, but we don't really give a fuck.
So, David, I hear this new show coming up, the Fortean Slip.
You know, I don't know where these douchebags are coming from.
Steve Alcorn's a fine investigator. What he's doing with this Chris dude, I have no idea.
Christopher York is fucked up. The dude is seriously fucked up.
Put that on the show.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. Because I know what that means.
You know where this is going.
Chris, have you ever had an experience in the woods?
If you consider getting blown by a friend behind some trees an experience in the woods, Steve, then yes, I have.
Christopher York? I saw him naked!
This show is going to be fucked up.
I'd like to tell you all this show is going to be good, but let's face facts. And welcome to the Fortean Slip. I am your host, Christopher York. With me, my co-host, the investigative reporter, the blog man, Mr. Steve Alcorn. And joining us from bigfootcrossroads.blogspot.com is Matt Knapp. Gentlemen, welcome.
Howdy-ho, Chris.
What's happening, dog?
We're just having fun. This show has taken just about as long to come out as Dead Bigfoot, but we're here. And tonight we're going to discuss the Hovey V Poling case, or Hovey, or Hovey. How the fuck do you pronounce her name?
I believe it's Hovey.
Hovey?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Hovey on this one.
I'm going to go with Hovey.
What the heck? Yeah, it's Hovey.
All right. Steve grabbed this beautiful clip of Miss Hovey.
That was from the Conundrums podcast, and it was about a week after she originally uploaded that photo and put the copyright on it on YouTube or on her blog.
Okay.
What photo are you guys talking about?
The photo, Matt.
The photo commonly known as the Hovey photo that shows an alleged Bigfoot. That photo, Matt.
Oh, that one. I think I think I've heard of it.
I'm glad you're up to speed.
You've seen that one?
I believe so, yes.
But we thought this...
I don't think Matt prepared for the show at all.
Matt doesn't prepare for anything. The only thing Matt prepares for is
Why
sleep.
would I prepare for this show?
But I figured since these two men seem to have written
really just kind of fall into it.
Poignant blogs on the matter, that I would discuss this today. And Steve had grabbed this nice little snippet of audio of Hovey from the Conundrum show, so I wanted to play this to start off.
Did he ask you not to publish it?
Yeah.
But you did anyway?
Wait a minute. So the witness asked her not to publish it. Did I get that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
That is correct, sir.
Let's listen to that. Let's listen to
That
that.
appears to be what was stated.
Let's listen to that again.
Did he ask you not to publish it?
Yeah,
But you did anyway?
I did, because part of the agreement was that if he wanted me not to publish it, if he wanted to stop me from doing so, then he had to agree to work with me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I was serious about that because I have sat here and sat here and sat here on this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's trying to refine his craft. I don't.
Okay, so this is my issue with this whole thing. So let's say an author, for some unknown reason, sends me an early copy of their manuscript. Is it then okay for me to publish it because that person wouldn't work with me?
No. And what's even funnier is that she says it's part of the agreement. Well, what I heard was called an ultimatum, not an agreement. Right. And she was like trying to basically like blackmail the witness that she so desperately wants to protect, you know, because that's just the right thing to do, into giving her more information. And I don't know, that doesn't seem like an agreement to me. I mean, it's like, okay, well, if you don't want me to publish this, then contact me and give me more photos, or, you know, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would he be willing to work with her whenever she's, you know, putting it in that way?
Well, later,
like most people would tell her to fuck off.
Well, later in that interview, she said he did contact her the night that she published the photo, and he didn't say, "I'm mad at you for publishing the photo," or something to that effect. So that gave her, in her mind, the justification that she needed with that, and then put the copyright on it and all the other BS that happened after that. So if you listen to that interview, it's on YouTube. It's under Conundrums TV, and it's also on the video that I uploaded today. It has the same clip that we just heard. I posted a link in there too. So
I think she
like
a lot of assumptions about what was okay with the witness, or as it played in her favor and what she wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it just seems to me,
well, here's the thing,
seems to me
Matt,
really suspect.
I wrote
that she would say that she would say that you know, I was given the photo. So okay, so if I'm given, you know, something, you know, that's painted by an artist, can I slap my fucking copyright on it and call it mine?
If it's sold to you by the artist, or there's written consent, you are now the owner of the artwork. But this isn't that situation. The photo wasn't given to her. It was shown to her via email as an email attachment. It's not the actual photograph. It's not the original file or whatever you want to call it. It's just a copy. And that does not entitle her to the rights to anything.
Right. Well, according to the copyright.gov website, the only way that she can own cop photo is if she was the original photo taker, or the rights were signed over to her. Well, from that clip we just heard, she herself states that the witness did not want her to publish that photo. And it doesn't matter if it was his photo or not, she had no right to begin with, because she didn't have rights from the original photo taker, and she did not take that photo herself.
And we don't even know if the person that gave her the photo...
And that's straight from the copyright.gov website. I mean, they're very clear.
But we don't even know if the person who gave her the photo even owned it to begin with.
No.
Absolutely.
We don't know the origin of the photo at all. And according to the conversations I've had with her about the photograph, neither does she. I
agree, Matt.
The last time I talked to her in July, she said that she was still nowhere closer to anything.
Well, I worked with Melissa back not too long after the release of the photo, and there was question whether or not it was the Abominable costume. I didn't work on the cloth of it because other people had already done it. And according to them, of course, it was not theirs. But in retrospect, she didn't know. And I still believe that she doesn't know exactly where that photo came from. But slapping a copyright on it and saying it's protecting a lip is going a little too far, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's typically known as theft, you know, fraud and fouling, right? I know I do graphic design work, and I deal with customers all the time, and I do a design, and, you know, I sell the product to the customer or whatever. I'm commissioned to do designs for them. But I auto stamp everything, because whenever I'm showing them proofs, you know, before we get to the final layout or whatever, they don't have legal rights to it. It still belongs to me. And if they were just to steal my design and not pay me for it, and then go ahead and use it as their own to promote a business or whatever, then I would take legal action against them, because, you know, I didn't give it to them, even though I've emailed them a copy of it, you know, to do whatever they want to with. The transaction's not complete. The agreement hasn't been reached. So it still, you know, falls under my ownership.
Listen, dick pictures don't count
Absolutely.
as graphic design work.
This one might.
Well, here's the thing. And I think that a lot of people are missing the point on this, and I know Matt and Chris, you agree. It really doesn't matter where this photo came from originally. What matters is that Melissa sued a man over a photo that she had no rights to. That's the point of the whole case that lost, and it was dismissed without prejudice.
Right. And as a person who's been through useless fucking litigation, and someone who's had to spend thousands of dollars just so my life could remain exactly the same as it was before, when I had offered the person that took me to court the easy way out, and it just instead they wanted to just be douchey about it and get attorneys and pay thousands of dollars, waste the court's time, waste our time, waste money, just so that my life could stay the same. And I see the same thing happening here. I see a woman who took a man to court because she got a little fucking butthurt, and he had to pay, I'm sure, a lot of fucking money for his life to stay exactly the same as it was before it all happened, minus his time, effort, and fucking money.
Yeah,
I agree with you there, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I can tell from the information I've read, seen on the internet, Phil Poling didn't do anything wrong. I mean, a lot of people, you know, have come to me privately and said, oh, well, really mean things were said about her, and, you know, they talked really bad about her, and this, that. Well, that doesn't matter. She didn't sue anybody over libel or slander or anything. She sued over copyright infringement.
And then tried to make
that's the point.
She didn't even own the copyright.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a vindictive move. That's all it was.
It was a way for her to slap him without having to do it physically. That's all it was.
And she sure enough did that. You know, she cost him, I'm sure, thousands of dollars to defend himself in a lawsuit that should have never been brought.
And taxpayers' dollars.
And when it finally got to the court, it was thrown out. Right, taxpayer dollars. So it cost me and you, and it cost Phil. It cost his attorney a lot of time. It cost him a lot of time. It cost us all a lot of time.
It cost her attorney a lot of time.
Right.
You know,
and all for what? You know.
So she could get back at somebody that hurt her feelings. That's all. I don't see any other logic behind it. And for this to come from a person who proclaims, you know, I'm a paralegal, I know the legal side of things, it's ridiculous.
Right, I heard her make that statement in person at the Chicago Lake Bigfoot Expo. She knows the legal side of things. Well, apparently, in this case, she did not. because a cursory examination of the copyright law would have told her immediately that she had no rights to that photo.
But why?
Exactly.
But why would
And
she?
her attorney
And
as
that's
well.
why it was dismissed. I mean,
Well, because she was, she was feeling, for lack of a better term, butthurt by what Phil said and what Phil did. All Phil did was upload a video, took the fake copyright. I'm going to call it the fake copyright because it didn't exist in the first place, even though she filed for it. And he put his own on there to demonstrate that she did not have legal right to that photo. Phil knew it from the beginning. It took a lot of us to catch up, but Phil knew it from the beginning, and that's all he was doing was pointing out that she did not legally own that photo and never could.
So if I make
and everything Phil did falls under the fair use law.
So if
he didn't do anything out of the ordinary.
So if I make a joke about somebody, and this basically sets a precedent that somebody could just take me to court, and even though they, have the case dismissed, they're going to cost me, a shit ton of fucking money.
Your point is taken, but the court is saying that this is dismissed without prejudice. So technically, I guess it wouldn't set a precedent, but people abuse the legal system all the time, and this is a classic case of that.
Well, I want to make something clear about the case, and I've written this in my blog. I've seen other people discuss it. Melissa did not lose the case. Neither did Phil Poling. It was dismissed, and the reason it was dismissed is because she was attempting to sue someone over copyright infringement on an item that she did not legally have the rights to copyright in the first place. That's why the judge dismissed it, and that's why part of the settlement agreement was court-ordered removal of her copyright from the photograph.
Now, speaking of that, I checked her blog last night, and there's an entry in March of 2012 where the photo appears with her copyright still on it. So she hasn't completely complied with
no, she hasn't
in that aspect.
She's got 20 days to do so. I imagine she's going to wait 21 just to try to get that last word in or whatever it is she's trying to do. But another real important aspect of this to really drive home, because I'm so sick of responding to comments on my blog about this, just to put it bluntly, it doesn't have anything to do with the fucking photograph. It doesn't matter if it's Carl Kozak's. It doesn't matter if it's a fucking picture of Santa Claus. Not the point. It has nothing to do with the lawsuit. And that's not what we're talking about. Like, for the people that keep on, including Melissa, who's trying to spin it completely away from the fact that she did something wrong, it doesn't matter if it's the real Carl Kozak. It doesn't matter if it's the costume from the movie Claude. It's not the fucking photograph that's at question here. It's somebody fraudulently filed a copyright claim with the United States government and then sued somebody over copyright infringement for no reason, just to cost this person money because they said something she did not like or agree with. And that's important because that could happen to any one of us at any given time. I mean, it's ridiculous, but obviously there are people out there who are so vengeful that they would do something like this. And it just blows me away. That's why I wrote a blog about it.
Well, that's the same reason why I wrote a blog post about it too, because I was so upset about the fact that this even happened, and because it never should have. And you're right. It doesn't matter where this photograph came from. It doesn't matter who the witness is. None of that matters. It doesn't matter if it's Carl Kozak's or the movie Claude or Abominable or Who Shot Bill or whatever movie. It doesn't matter. The point is she took an innocent man to court over a copyright that she didn't own, never could own, and never will own. That's the point.
That's all I gotta say on that matter.
I think that's very appropriate.
I mean, I've gotten some ridiculous comments on my blog, Steve. I don't know if you have, but I got one that even said that it depends on if the Bigfoot in the photo is real or not.
I saw that comment, and what the hell does that matter?
I don't know. Like, what? I really didn't understand that. Like, what does that have to do with determining if she copyright the photo or not? Like,
Well,
if it's a fake Bigfoot, then no, she didn't. But if it's a real Bigfoot, then she has the right.
A lot of people are going after the spin that's being put on it that, you know, that Melissa's putting on it, and her supporters were, you know, she's trying to put all this on Carl Kozak. And so what? Who cares? It doesn't
people
matter.
Are fucking stupid.
And I've heard other podcasts where they discuss this, and that's the route they're going. Hey, this is from the movie Claude, or this isn't from the movie Claude, or Carl Kozak didn't really send it. Well, who the hell cares? That's not the point of the case, and that's not the most important. To all of us who do this kind of research, this should be the most important thing to us right now, because if it can happen to Phil, it can happen to any one of us, as I said earlier.
For something
we could get a photo from a witness, and of course we're not going to copyright it. And that's another thing. Here's a point I wanted to bring up. Phil is with copyrighting shit anyway. We're supposed to be in a field of research where we want to openly share our findings, not? Am I wrong on that?
No.
It depends on if it plays in people's favors or not. I mean...
Wait a minute.
Sure, yeah, we're supposed to share stuff.
Steve, am I making
a
buck?
But nobody does.
I didn't hear you, Chris. I'm sorry.
Am I making a buck?
Are you making a buck?
Yeah.
I highly doubt it.
Then no. I don't share my information
But that's
freely.
what it depends on.
Right.
But I mean, this
well, here's the thing. Anything I've ever found, which is very minimal.
This shit is crazy, though. I mean, like we've all said, it can happen to any one of us for just something stupid, and it's unless you want to walk into a courtroom with no legal defense, it's going to cost you money, and it's at least going to cost you time.
Speaking of which, she walked into a courtroom, but it was not a year after Phil uploaded that video, and she threatened to sue him. What the hell took so long? I mean, was she trying to find a lawyer that would actually take this case, or you know what was going on?
She was saving money from her lemonade stand to pay for an attorney.
Oh, that could be. I don't know. Lemonade stand.
It's just wrong.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe conferences don't pay all that well.
I don't know. I've never spoken at a conference, although I have attended one, and Melissa Hovey happened to be the speaker there.
But she didn't say much.
You really want to know?
Yeah.
No. Let's see. Well, Billy Willard was a speaker. Steve Calls was a speaker. He was very good. Melissa, she was okay. But when it came to question and answer time, she seemed to stumble a little bit. I don't want to get down on Melissa where it doesn't pertain to this case, but the one statement that she made is, you know, I know the legal side of things. And that kind of, because I knew about the case at that time when most people didn't. And it just made me chuckle when she said that, because I already knew at that time she had no rights to this photo, and the lawsuit was going to be thrown out of court no matter what. So, and the suit wasn't over at the time, but I knew. So when she made that statement, it just made me chuckle inside, you know.
But he did not refer to her as sweet tits.
No, he did not refer to her as sugar tits.
I'm not here to bash Melissa. I'm just here to point out what she did wrong, you know, and why it was wrong. I don't want to, you know, of course we're going to get blamed for bashing anyway, but
yeah.
We get blamed for it anyway, Steve.
So maybe we should.
I wrote a blog.
But the thing is...
Like, I'll throw the disclaimer out there. I mean, I can say this. Me and Melissa were what I considered good friends at one time. We got into it. It was pretty well known within the community that we did not like one another. And then here recently, obviously not too recent, I made up with her. We became friends again. Put the past behind us, left it there. And everything was fine, and I considered her a friend, and we would talk, and she never mentioned the lawsuit. We'd talk about the photo, you know, she told me things in confidence that I still haven't spoken about publicly or privately, and everything was fine, but she never mentioned the lawsuit. And then I heard about the lawsuit, and I was like, okay, well, what is this about? And I started looking into it and finding out what was going on. And then after the loss over, everything came out, you know, public record. And I looked at, you know, the documents from the court docket, and it was like, holy shit. You know, like, I can't just sit on this. I mean, this is a big deal. Like, people need to know that this is a big deal. Something that should just be swept under the rug. And that's what she's trying to do. That's what she's been trying to do. She's even telling people that she has a gag order placed on her and can't talk about the case. That's bullshit. She can talk about the case all she wants to. She just can't talk bad about Phil Poling. And Phil Poling can't talk bad about her.
Right.
But as far as the case, the documents are public record. She can speak on that all she wants to. She's just saying she can't because she either, A, misunderstood dismissal settlement that she agreed to, or B, she's fucking lying. One or the other. I'm not going to say which one it is because I don't know. But she can talk about the case.
Well, Matt, I had a similar experience with Melissa. We were friends, you know, and I worked with her on this photo back in May of 2012. And we didn't correspond a whole lot after that came out. But, you know, even when I saw her at the Chautauqua Lake Bigfoot Expo, you know, we were still friendly to each other, and we never had any issues. Until recently when my blog article came out, and she must have been one of the 62 readers that read it, and she blocks me on Facebook, and I have no way to get a hold of her now, because I would definitely like to hear her response to my article. You know, where am I wrong on this? What have I done?
Right.
Is there anything that I've posted in this article that's wrong? You know, respond to me, and I'll be happy to post your response, you know. But instead of that, she blocks me, and I have no way to communicate with her now. So I would definitely accept, and I'll issue that right now, you know. And I know Jeff Kelly did the same thing on his Fringe News, offered to tell their side of the story, Melissa's side of the story. And I know as of 2 p.m. today, nobody has taken him up on that offer, and I suspect I will have the same response.
Well, I posted on my blog, you know, that if her or any of her colleagues would like to show me, you know, legal documentation that she had the right to file that copyright, I will retract everything I've said and publicly apologize for it.
And I would do the same.
But as far as I know, and according to her own admission, she didn't have the rights to do it. And
just from that clip we heard, she openly stated that the witness, whether or not it was his photo, that was the only person she knew the photo from. He gave her no permission to that photo, period. So that's her own admission saying, I don't own this photo.
Why don't you guys, why don't we wrap this up and give me your final thoughts on the Hovey V Poling case and where you're at with it right now.
Or not.
I was letting you go first.
All right, I'll go first. Well, it all boils down to, and we've said it many times on the show tonight, Melissa Hovey had no right to the photo in the first place. Phil Poling did nothing wrong. And this is going to be something that people are going to look back on for years to come, I'm afraid, and be afraid to come out with any evidence because of, you know, fear of lawsuits in Bigfoot research. And to me, that's worse than anything that anybody's ever done. And that's all I have to say on that matter.
Well, I agree with those sentiments. I mean, somebody in the community to get a piece of evidence now isn't going to show it to anybody. I mean, they would run the risk of another researcher copywriting their evidence, as their own, and then having to pay court fees and court costs and attorney fees to get their copyright back, apparently. But it's just really sad that it's come to something like this. I mean, I've been around in this community for a while now, and it used to be back in the day you'd just go after each other's throats on a message board or something, and then it was over with, and everything was fine, and you'd go and lick your wounds and talk shit or not talk shit and let it go. And now it's gotten to the point of people getting affected by this. I mean, that's really messed up, and I would just like to see it, no, we can't ask everybody to get along, and there's going to be assholes who say people don't like. I am a prime example of that. But people are allowed to say those things, and if you don't like it, don't listen to it. If it offends you, just ignore it. You don't have to read what they write. You don't have to listen to their radio shows. You don't have to watch their YouTube videos. Just let it go and worry about your fucking self. And then this kind of thing won't happen.
My final thoughts on the matter are that a man had to, and I'll say it again, I've said it I don't know how many times to people in private, thousands of dollars, I will guarantee you, were wasted on this case. And not to the tune of like a couple thousand or 3,000. I'm thinking a lot higher. I mean, I know when I had to go to court, it cost me $6,500. I'll never forget that figure. $6,500 for my life to stay exactly the fucking same as it was the day before I walked into court. So I just, to me, it's an atrocity that someone's life can be basically turned upside down over, a few jokes or jabs. It doesn't even compute with me that this happened, that our legal system allowed this to get to that point where this person was allowed to just control someone else's life for a portion of it. It just doesn't compute to me. I don't understand it. It seems completely illogical. It seems very spiteful, hateful, and deceitful.
That's a wrap.
Oh. Could somebody telegram Chris?
Fuck off. Let's get into the freezer boy stuff now, guys. Some people took some trips to LA to supposedly see a Bigfoot body, which we all know was going to be bullshit to begin with. I think one of my comments was, doesn't somebody wish that they'd spent that money on strippers and booze instead of wasting it to go out there? So, what are you guys' thoughts on that matter?
Well, my thoughts are, I'm kind of glad in a way that J.R. Dobbs, I believe his name is, and Steve Calls went out there, but it really was kind of a worthless event, I guess, because we all know that Freezer Boy, as you call him, has nothing. Never had anything, never will have anything. He's an entertainer. He may only be entertaining himself and a few followers, but that's what he is. He don't care. And he chuckled and laughed and carried on when he thought that, he pulled the wool over Calls and Dobbs' eyes and whoever else was there. Susie was there too. I can't pronounce her last name. Sorry, Susie. But the thing is, we all knew from the beginning that Freezer Boy had nothing. And this kind of just proves that. Now, a lot of people are saying the hoax is dead. Well, I really don't think it's over yet. He won't let it rest. He may be taking a break. I haven't heard anything from him since the LA trip, but yeah, it's not over. Matt?
Well, I would just like to say that taking a trip to LA, I mean, I've never been there. I've never been to California. I've heard stories, I've seen movies, things like that. But taking a trip to LA to see a dead Bigfoot body isn't that far-fetched of an idea. I mean, there's lots of crazy shit that goes on in LA. There's no telling. Somebody may have a dead Bigfoot body in LA right now, and we just don't know about it. But the whole ha ha, I fooled you guys is fucking ridiculous. He didn't fool anybody. Like, people stated clearly before they ever left, we're going to bust the hoax. That's why we're going out there, not because we think he has a baby Bigfoot clinging to his arms, which I'm going to refer to as Bubbles and him Jacko, or Jack Off. But they weren't going out there to see fucking Bubbles. They were going out there to call his bluff. And that's what they did. And they showed up, and he didn't. And so he can show up in his little video chat with his cult of 6 followers or whatever, with sweaty stains on his fucking armpits, dancing around to that stupid fucking song all he fucking wants. It wasn't fucking clever. It wasn't it was stupid. He's a fucking idiot, and so are the people that believe that he has anything. The only intelligent aspect of it is him taking advantage of the mentally impaired by getting them to send him money. That's it. That's the only thing I can give the man credit for. He's had a dead Bigfoot for a fucking year now? Really? Okay.
That's gotta stink.
And then after sitting on the information for a year, I've also got one activity, a juvenile that was with it. Who the fuck? Somebody's gonna believe that shit and really fly out there because they think he's telling the truth? What a fucking moron, man. He's a fucking idiot, and I'm so tired of hearing his name and hearing about when he's going to release the body and just all of it. It's just
it's January 1st now, by the way.
Yes, January 1st in San Antonio. We're relocating. We're going to rebuild it back behind the fucking Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever it was. And the body would be fucking rotting carcass by now. Like, give it a break.
Well, here's the thing. I've talked to Rick, and I want to go on record as saying I don't hate Rick Dyer. And I've told Rick this himself. I don't hate the guy. I hate what he does, and I hate, the person that he puts himself across to be. But I don't hate Rick Dyer. But I have communicated with him in the past, and he'll all but admit that this is a hoax. He'll say things like, well, I throw ups and downs in there just to string it along a little longer, or I want to drag this out and milk it as long as it'll go. So that's the guy we're dealing with here. And the one thing I did want to say, I had some respect for Dallas Gilbert out of Ohio, and he was in on that live event, and that kind of upset me about Dallas. I really upset the city.
I don't think Dallas knew that it was a setup.
Well, I hope not, because
I think
really
Dallas believes that Dallas thinks that Rick's telling them the fucking truth. I believe Dallas is another victim in this. I don't believe Dallas is in on it.
Well, Steve Cole said the same thing when I asked him about it the other day on another podcast, and he said the same thing about Dallas. So it is my hope and wish that Dallas leaves Rick Dyer behind, and soon, because all it is doing is damaging his reputation.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas and his bigfooting partner, Wayne, I guess it is, they get a pass with me.
Right, same here.
That's just the way it's going to be. I know people would disagree with it. They have some pretty, shall we say, interesting photographs that they've taken over the years. Whatever.
Is a good word.
Yeah, whatever. They were here before you were, and I don't mean that to you, Steve, but I'm just, whoever's listening to this little rant of mine, they were here before you. Leave them the fuck alone, I
truly believe that when Dallas and Wayne go out in the field, that they truly believe what they're doing. And
Yes.
for them to, well, Dallas anyhow, to associate himself with the likes of Freezer Boy, kind of is upsetting to, and not just me, because I've had this question from other people too. And, you know, I hope for Dallas's sake and Wayne's sake that they disassociate and do it soon. That's all I'm saying.
Are you guys good with that topic?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up the show. We have a nice little segment here where our investigative reporter, Steve Alcorn, gives us the news. Steve?
Oh, that's me?
Yeah, that's you.
All right, I got some news for you guys. Yeah, that's me. First, we have news of a new species that was discovered. And Chris so eloquently wrote this article for me to read, so
I did.
Up in the trees. Look, it's a raccoon. No, it's a squirrel. No, it's an obligato. How do you pronounce that? Olinguito.
Olinguito.
Researchers have recently rediscovered a species of olingo.
An oblong guido.
Hey, this is serious news, guys.
I'm sorry.
No, where was I?
I was being serious.
Oh, okay. They rediscovered a species of olingo, whatever that is, that they technically already had. After discovering differences in some olingo pelts at the Field Museum of Chicago, a dude named Christopher Helgen was blown away by what he found. He knew we had a new species, so he contacted Roland Kays, the world's resident olingo expert.
Olingo.
Didn't know there was one. Kays, along with zoologist Miguel Pinto, set off on an expedition to catalog this new find. Serious news, fellas. Serious news.
I wonder if the
olinguito is... Come on, guys. Now, come on. I'm trying to read the news here.
But does the world's leading olinguito expert hang out with, like, the world's leading platypus expert? And, like, drink beers and play basketball games and shit like that?
I bet you they do.
It's got to be a pretty tight circle.
They correspond.
Olinguito is Spanish for little adorable olingo. Funny that the scientific community was sitting on these misidentified pelts for years and actually had one in a zoo that they thought wouldn't breed with the others for some unknown reason. And that's the olinguito, the Italian squirrel.
Perhaps she was attracted to chubbies.
That could have been.
And none of the other oblong guidos were fat enough. I find that story fucking ridiculous, man. Like, how do you make a press conference to announce that you've rediscovered something that you've had in captivity? I've seen, like, numerous articles about how, like,
this is amazing.
Cryptozoologists are idiots. Yeah, are idiots for, like, pushing this, and it falls right underneath my comment. I'm asking, shouldn't this have been billed as a reclassification and not a discovery? But that comment gets overlooked just to talk trash about Bigfoot researchers that got excited about a new animal.
We had our heads up our asses.
In further news,
for so long.
Hey, come on! I'm trying to read the news. Can I get on with the news now?
Yes.
All right. In further news, the U.S. government has always denied the existence of Area 51. That is, until now. For the first time, Area 51 has been recognized by the CIA, according to a newly declassified history of the U-2 program. The documents were obtained under the Freedom of Information Act by Jeffrey T. Richardson, who is a National Security Archives Senior Fellow at George Washington University. It's known that Area 51 was created during the Cold War so that the military could test cutting-edge projects like the U-2 spy plane and other super-secret projects. The documents show numerous references to Area 51 and Groom Lake with a map of the area. Area 51 has always been ground zero for conspiracy theorists for decades now. No mention was made of flying saucers or alien bodies, but the release stops after 1974, so there is still a chance that important information may still be released in the future.
And they also
It's a small step for ET buffs, but an important one.
That
perhaps the government is opening up after all. Hey, you guys let me get through almost a whole story.
They also said that
Um,
they were going to release the spot where they all took number 2. No, nothing.
And while they didn't mention any flying saucers, they did mention a flying gravy boat and a flying turkey platter.
Sure.
I thought the whole Area 51 thing was kind of letting the cat out of the bag whenever they created Google Earth.
You think? The worst kept secret in the history of secrets, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
In further news...
Thanks, government.
This one's from J. Michael Cooney from Bizarre Zoology blog, and it's about pterosaurs. And I'm gonna chop up some of these names that he gave me, but we're gonna go for it anyway. He writes, surely if you've seen dinosaur-themed movies such as Jurassic Park, then you've heard of the pterosaurs, or pterosaurs, excuse me. Although these strange creatures often are the sinister villains of such media, recent discoveries have revealed that many of the portrayed characteristics are incorrect and have shined light on the true appearance of these bizarre prehistoric reptiles. Pterosaurs were Archosaurian reptiles lived throughout the Mesozoic, Syria, whatever.
Pterodactyl
Great with a glass.
Jesus. Pterodactyl wings are better than fucking honey barbecue wings. Give me a fucking break.
It's a pterosaur, not a pterodactyl.
Yeah.
But either way. The sorry Jay, I'm not pronouncing this right, but the Mesozoic period of time started 250 million years ago and ended 65 million years ago. These animals possessed wings with membranes. Jay, says Jay Cooney. These animals possessed wings with membranes that were supported by a single finger and ranged in size of wingspan from 10 inches to 10 meters, with some species growing as tall as giraffes.
We're really good with hot sauce.
As mentioned before, there are many indices. These interesting prehistoric animals often spread in movies and other media sources. Rather than being unsuccessful prehistoric equivalents of modern-day seabirds, fossil evidence suggests that pterosaurs were pterosaurs. I'm talking about pterosaurs.
You have me at Jurassic Park.
Anyway, they were a diverse group of reptiles which inhabited a variety of niches. Interestingly, many paleontologists suggest a group of... You guys got me all screwed up. I'm sorry.
Oblonguinos.
Yeah.
This is pterosaurs, not the Italian squirrel anymore. All right, Jay, I'm sorry. I know it's a serious article, and these guys are all screwing me up.
And I'm sure it was very interesting to tell us that we don't really know what the dinosaurs look like and all.
Skipping ahead.
Let's get to the meat and potatoes time. Come on, give it to us.
Skipping ahead. These flying reptiles did not struggle to take off from the ground, which would put themselves at constant risk to predators such as theropod dinosaurs. They likely launched themselves efficiently using all four legs and powerful muscles which allowed them to leap off flat ground without assistance or wind. Although many inaccuracies regarding these amazing prehistoric animals have been corrected, scientists still have many questions as to what their lifestyles and intermediate ancestors were like.
What they tasted.
Hopefully, with further research and devoted paleontologists and other scientists, some of the many questions regarding these bizarre Mesozoic reptiles may be answered. Again, Jay, I apologize for butchering your article. You can blame it on Chris and Matt.
You can read the article on Jay's blog.
He mentions
Please, Jay, post this article on your blog so people
He
can
already
understand
did.
what it's about.
I like the part where you mentioned that they didn't have trouble getting into flight or taking off. Can you just imagine it if they did? Oh, I shouldn't have had that second burger. You know, I can't get my fat ass off the ground.
Dude,
really struggling to fly.
I think it's
trying to read the news,
Flintstones.
and you guys are, interrupting me all the
It's
time. I
a
don't know what's up
living.
with that.
Bruno, can you give me a boost, buddy? Just throw me off the edge of the cliff.
All right, gentlemen. I think that'll do it for the Fortean slip for this week.
Is this podcast over yet?
It is definitely over, as they say. I'd like to thank Matt Knapp for joining us. Steve for bumbling his ass through the news. And for the 2 people who are going to listen to this piece of shit. It was fun. You may see us again
I paid
in a
somebody.
couple of weeks. We are out.
Why does this music want me to make me take my clothes off?
You mean your clothes are on?
Yes, Matt. My clothes are still on.
Hang on, I gotta repicture you. All right.